Welcome back to Leaders Whiteboard session 8. In the last session, we discussed about the 5 levels of delegation, like based on your trust level, how you need to delegate your tasks to your direct reports or to your team. Today, we'll talk about a tactical topic, which is one-on-one meeting. So as an engineering manager or as a leader, you will be doing different types of one-on-one meetings with your direct report, with your skip level or dotted reports, with your manager, and with your skip level manager, and sometimes with your peers, right? A lot of one-on-one meetings are necessary. So today, we'll mostly talk about the one-on-one meeting between you and your direct report. Most of the ideas should be transferable to all other use cases. So as long as we can discuss in detail the basics of one-on-one meeting, you can apply it in many different situations. So let's dive into this then. Yeah. One-on-one meeting. So conducting effective one-on-ones is a critical component of a successful leader. By following the guidelines we'll discuss today, you can create a supportive environment that fosters open communication, helps address any challenges your direct reports are facing, and supports their professional growth and development. So here are some major areas that you need to keep in mind when you are thinking of one-on-one meeting, your planning and your execution on one-on-one meeting. So let's start. I divided it into 6 major of those areas. Number 1 is schedule regularly. Number 2 is document key points. Number 3 is build report. Number 4 is review. Number 5 is readiness. And number 6 is end positively. So let's dive into those topics one by one. The first one, schedule regularly. So this is something about consistency. You need to schedule one-on-one with your direct reports in a recurring manner, in a regular manner. What does it mean is that, let's say you choose between either you will meet weekly with your one-on-one or bi-weekly or monthly. You should be meeting at the same day of the week or the month and at the same time. This is for the purpose of consistency. Consistency is the key here. And you have to make sure that you don't reschedule it very easily. You don't cancel it very easily. Definitely there will be emergencies or maybe time offs and other things that come up, and then you will eventually have to reschedule or cancel meetings, but make those as an exception. Take these one-on-ones as a high priority. As a manager, you are supposed to be giving this time to your direct reports. It is your direct reports time to ask you questions, demand things from you, share their concern. So don't consider it less important than a project delivery or some other things. In fact, as a manager, this is more important for you than the project delivery. You are supposed to be developing, growing this professional. You're responsible for their career. And you cannot do that without regularly checking in with your direct reports. So that's why the number one important thing is schedule regularly. And as you are scheduling, set the expectation with your direct reports exactly what kind of conversation you will be having during your one-on-ones, or ask also from them what kind of topics they want to talk when you first initially set up the recurring one-on-one meeting. And definitely, because it is a meeting, the things that we learned in some of the things we learned in running effective meetings, those will be applied here as well, right? For example, let's say agenda item ahead of time, accepting or rejecting meetings, and so on. Being on time, all those things. All right. The next one is document key points. This one is another very important one. First of all, it's unfortunate that some people even says you check with your ex-colleagues or other peers in industry that they don't have any regular one-on-one with their manager to start with in the first place. That's a pretty bad situation. We covered it already in point number 1. You have to have one-on-one. Now we are going to talk about when you are going to have one-on-one. What will be the style of the one-on-one? How do you carry those out? So I have seen people following different formats. The one that I like most and many people use is having a document, a shared document. So my recommendation is to have a private shared document between only you and your direct report. No one else should have access to that document. It's a private document. You both should be able to edit that document. Whether it's a Google Docs, MS Word, Confluence, whatever you want to do. Confluence, maybe it will be a little bit of privacy issue. So you better use Google Docs or spreadsheet or MS Word or something similar. Google Docs is a format that is a tool that I have been using mostly in all my career for one-on-ones. So use that document, make sure it is private and make sure it is editable to both of you. And when you are setting expectation in the number 1 point we talked about, there you set the expectation with your direct report that, hey, this document is for both of us. So you should be adding agenda items here. I should also be adding agenda items here. And in that document, you should be having sections by date, the date when you are about to meet or you have met or you are meeting. So that date, so that you can quickly go back and check what conversations you have had or check the notes for a particular one-on-one in a given date. So that should be the one. So there are many templates available online for this kind of document. I don't think it matters which template you pick. I prefer a very minimalistic one. Minimalistic one means like what's top of your mind, here are the agenda items or notes, the discussions, and here are the action items for future. But having a document and having a consistent format, no matter what the format is, but a consistent format by every date, it helps. And make sure that it's not only you who are adding agenda items, your direct report is doing, and vice versa. Not only they are doing and you don't have time adding agenda items there. So do both of you. One thing what I do, both for my one-on-ones with my direct report as well as with my manager or others, is that the running private document that I have, whenever something comes in my mind all throughout the week, let's say we meet weekly, I keep writing on that immediately there so that I don't forget. So by the time the meeting date comes, I already know I have put out something all throughout the day. So I already have some agenda items to talk about. So that's something you can do yourself and recommend your direct reports. And prepare for the one-on-one. This is an important meeting. Check the agenda items before joining the one-on-one meeting. If there is something you need to prepare for, or maybe there are previous follow-up action items you are supposed to do before you meet in this coming one-on-one. So check those in that document. So like in Google Doc, you can assign a task to yourself, insert a comment and assign a task to yourself, mention yourself so you remember, or to your direct reports, you remember, check those if there is something there in your name before you go to the meeting. Yeah. Now, number 3 is now the meeting has started. You and your direct report, either you are in a Zoom meeting or in a room with your direct report, whatever format you are using. The first thing is the number 3 talks about build rapport. Start with a check-in question, something maybe outside of work. How's your day going? What's top of your mind? What's life outside of work? That kind of thing. This helps in ice breaking. This also helps create a safe environment. Like it's one of your job is to create a safe environment by showing empathy, ensuring confidentiality to build trust, and that you are ready to practice active listening and so on. Yeah. So build that rapport. That's like the first part of the meeting. Casual talk doesn't have to be with project because the project items will come soon. Doesn't have to be, but maybe your direct report will directly jump into that. That's also possible. Yeah, but start with some good words with a check-in question to make it easy, make both of yourself, you and your direct report, comfortable before you dive deep into the content or agenda of the meeting. The next one is the bulk load of your meeting. A big chunk of your meeting will be this review. Review the agenda item, review how's the week going on, what are some of the concerns or issues that we need to discuss, maybe any status update and so on. So review your direct report's current workload, priorities, goals, and challenges. Address issues and concerns by providing guidance or finding solutions together, like in a collaborative manner. Also, this is the time when you want to check the previous action items. If you or your direct report had something to be done by this time, do you have anything there, checking from the earlier week or earlier months and so on, and discuss those, or at least basically follow up. Also write down, when you are discussing, write down action items for the next week or before you meet next time, what you or your direct report needs to do. Write down all those things. This is the main tactical part of your one-on-one meeting. So I expect this time to go a little bit large. So one of the thing I didn't touch base, let me also discuss there, is that schedule regularly. I was talking about is like, maybe you'll be scheduling weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. It actually depends on at what level of management you are. If you are a line level frontline manager, your frequency should be weekly. Maybe at times bi-weekly is fine in some cases if you have a lot of direct reports. But if you are at a mid-level management or if you are an executive, then definitely weekly is an option. But it's okay if you go bi-weekly or even monthly with your direct reports, because the scope is very large and usually they have a larger department to look after. Also, there is another reason, like there are two kinds of direct reports, one who are high maintenance, another who are low maintenance. So usually at a higher level in management, people are relatively low maintenance. At a frontline level, when you have to work with engineers or maybe team leads or just front level managers, you need a lot more discussions, day-to-day things come up. So you need more time and you need frequent check-in. So that's why those meetings should be weekly, if possible. The lowest it should be is weekly half an hour, but I think weekly 1 hour is a good one. But if you have, let's say, 6 to 8 reports, and then let's assume you have 7 reports, an ideal standard direct report, and you will be meeting with your manager also 8. You'll have 8 one-on-one at least per week. If you have even half an hour, that's 4 hours a week. If you have 1 hour each of those meetings, we're talking about 8 hours a week just on one-on-one meeting, nothing else, right? So which is important, that's fine. So that's why you can decide if you want, if your frequency is weekly, you want it half an hour, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, all of those works. Also, not every direct report needs the equal amount of time or attention, like high maintenance, low maintenance, and so on. So with some of the direct reports, maybe you'll go half an hour weekly, with some 45 minutes, with some 1 hour. That's also perfectly fine. So anyway, so for this review, if I assume the lowest one is weekly, half an hour, I would assume this is the area where you'll spend approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe build report will be about 5 minutes, and then 10-15 minutes here, and the rest of the meeting another 10-15 minutes. Yeah. The next one is check readiness, or this is strategic. This is the session to discuss big picture or long-term topics or development goals for your direct reports. This is the time when you want to provide feedback. Also, you want to ask for feedback. This is also the time to your opportunity to coach. That you'll find coaching opportunities. Maybe you want them want to ask them, hey, do you want to go for a training for presentation. I see you a little bit nervous when you are presenting in front of executives. So maybe you can go through a training. I can approve the budget. These are more long-term, like you're not expecting something immediately coming out, but that kind of thing. Or maybe someone is not very good at written documentation. So maybe you give advices that for your career, this is very important. Maybe to make an impression on your team or leadership team. So why not you focus on it? It will be a valuable asset for you, a skill for you. And it helps. It's a win-win situation. It's good for the company, it's good for your career. That kind of big picture thinking, because you as a manager are responsible to grow your direct report. So this is outside of the day-to-day sprint work, or that project is blocked and so on. Outside of that you already finished at stage 4, which is a good chunk of your one-on-one meeting time, as we discussed. Review, tactical, those are tactical. This is the session at the very end. You start talking about strategic things, long-term things. Yeah, feedback, goal check, growth, what's in their mind, their career plan, all those things. And then finally, end the one-on-one meeting positively. Appreciate your direct report's contribution and hard work. Let them feel valued and heard. This helps a lot building trust. Like the build rapport you start the meeting with, you end the meeting with also build rapport by ending it positively. So these are some basic things that you will need almost in all one-on-ones. However, not all of these may be applicable in every one-on-one every time, because maybe there will be times when your entire time goes away on the review. You didn't get time to come to readiness and strategic. That's okay. What is not okay is if it happens consistently. So maybe after a couple of weeks, you missed one readiness part in the one-on-one session, strategic part. That's okay. But you are always running out of time on review side, like 3-4 times per week, then you get a chance one day to, when it's a little bit slow, to go to readiness. That's not okay. If you run into situations like this, increase your one-on-one time. It doesn't have to be half an hour. Make it 45 minutes. Maybe make it 1 hour, right? But that all these parts are important. But the point is that not every time all of those has to be religiously followed. There is nothing like that. So you or your direct report will make some exceptions. You will optimize and so on. That's quite understandable. Yeah. But this is something, one thing I talked about is the one-on-one between you and your direct report. What about your dotted reports? Like maybe your direct report is a manager to whom other engineers report. Then those other engineers who report to your direct report, who is a manager, they become your dotted reports. So with your direct reports, your frequency should be high, like weekly. With your dotted reports, it can be bi-weekly, it can be monthly, even in some cases, it can be quarterly, depending on the type of organization, type of project you are working on, and so on, at the stage of the company, or how many people you are managing, how big is your org, and so on. So that's one thing. Another thing is the one-on-one with your manager. Everything here is applicable for one-on-one with your manager. Just reverse your situation. Here you are the direct report, and your manager is the manager who for whom we are talking about today, right? But then there will also be skip level one-on-one. Your manager's manager, you want to talk once in a while. So I strongly recommend everyone to have a skip level one-on-one. It can be monthly. I think that's a ideal cadence. In some cases, it can be quarterly or bi-weekly, but I like the monthly cadence a little bit more. So some of the things that we discussed here, many of the things we discussed here will be equally applicable in the skip level meeting. Now, there is another type of one-on-one that will happen is between your peers. They are not in your reporting hierarchy, neither up, down. They are your peers. Like say you and your product manager. You are an engineering manager of a team, and there is a product manager. You both jointly together lead the team. You will have peer level one-on-one with that product manager. Right? So there are some of the things you can extract from this one-on-one meeting content, but not everything. For example, you are not responsible for their career development. Right? So those topics, or that readiness, strategic, some of those topics may not come out in your one-on-one with your peer. So anyway, this is something I thought might be helpful for you. I intentionally didn't put a template because, as I was saying, is that the template or the format, it doesn't matter. In fact, what I like is the simpler, the minimal version, the better. Just top of mind, agenda and notes, action items, good enough. Those all by grouped by date. That's in a doc. That should be good enough. So please let me know if you find it useful, this video. If you find it useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that when I come up with new videos for you, you get automatically notified. I would like to know your one-on-one experience. We'll talk more about one-on-ones in future. This is just the basic structure and theory we discussed today, but we will talk more about sample scenarios, sample one-on-ones, how you handle difficult questions in a one-on-one, how you bring things out of your direct reports who doesn't want to share much, and so on. Those are, so many of those come out in one-on-ones, although they are not directly topic for one-on-one. That's why I excluded those for future sessions to be discussed as part of some other topics. I'm curious to know how your one-on-one sessions go. Do you have a regular one-on-one with your manager? Do you write down, take notes by date, each of your one-on-one meetings? Do you assign action items to yourself or your manager and follow up? Please let me know, and I'll be very curious to know. Thank you, and I'll come back with new videos for you.